Welcome back. Want to have some fun? Well, Music in the Park is returning to Wilson Park in Florence this May. The first concert is Wednesday at 11:30 in the morning, featuring Shannon Knight. There will also be a concert every Wednesday throughout the month of May. The events are free, but don't forget to bring your own lawn chairs. All right, guys. Now, I'm not from here, but I'm getting acclimated. Have you guys been to that before?
I have not. I hadn't even heard of it until just now.
I just moved back, so that's my excuse.
All right, this looks like we all got to go then. Let's make it happen. Hopefully we'll have some beautiful weather, and hopefully it will continue to stay that way.
Oh, you may need your umbrella this time. Let's go ahead and take a look at that 10-day forecast before I let you go. If you're getting ready to start your week off, you're going to need the umbrella as we head through the next couple of days into next weekend as well. Multiple chances of rain. Not going to be a washout any day next week, though. Think of that summertime pattern when we get pop-up showers in the afternoon. That's what we're pretty much looking at as we head into next week. Temperatures staying warm in those 80s.
Love the warm weather.
Can't beat it.
Thanks, Amber. Thanks, Max.
WAAY 31 gives you 24/7 coverage you can count on. Local news, breaking news, and severe weather.
Watch WAAY 31 on all of our streaming platforms and download the only weather app with 3 live Doppler radars. Don't go anywhere. WAAY 31 LawCall is next.
This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviat. Tonight we're taking your calls on any legal subject. It's Ask Us Anything night. So whether you're dealing with a car accident, a possible divorce, an arrest, maybe you've got questions about whether your legal situation is something you could handle on your own, call in and ask. The 31 Law Call number 256-536-0077. You can also email a question. You can email a question on any legal topic any day of the week. You send it to lawcall@waaytv.com, and when we get a show on point, we pull some of those out, and we've got some of your email questions tonight. Personal injury attorney Heath Brooks is here to help us with Ask Us Anything night.
Call us about anything.
So we'd like to start off the show while we're waiting for folks to call in with a video clip. You make the law call, we pull something off of YouTube and we run it and then talk to lawyers who handle these kind of cases to say, what do you, ugh. Okay, this looks like just a regular street, somebody pulling out. Now maybe something was wrong with the traffic light, is that a possibility? Who do you think is at fault with this?
You know, you've got to yield to traffic coming from your right there. I think the black car would most likely be responsible. It didn't look like they yielded and they caused that wreck. The other thing that I can't help noticing though is the double yellow lines in what looks like the center lane.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether that car, the actual SUV was supposed to be traveling in that lane, going that direction. So if that car, well, no, it looks like he is where he needs to be. Yeah,
Interesting.
That's on the car.
You know, I have seen some traffic lights. How hard is it to prove that a traffic light is the problem? Because I've seen some traffic lights where I watch a pattern of traffic moving and I think it's the light. I think the lights are mistimed.
You know,
can you prove that?
We can. We sure can on some time. Every light has an actual sequence.
Okay.
And you go to the city engineer and you can ask the city engineer, hey, look, can you tell us what the sequence of this light was on December the 3rd at 3:30 in the afternoon? Because it can change.
Yeah.
Depending upon, you know, what time of day, what days of the week, and a lot of times it's dependent upon the amount of traffic that generally occurs at that point in time. So yes, the answer is yes, we have used a city engineer, a traffic engineer to testify the sequence of a light in a case before.
And if that's the case, is the city going to be liable for the accident if it's mistimed?
Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's not a situation where the light is malfunctioning.
Okay.
Most of the time it's a situation where there are two people that are both blaming each other for the wreck. I had the green light. No, I had the green light. I had the green turn arrow. No, you didn't. You had the solid red light. And so what we end up having is we end up having to try to piece it all together based upon what time the wreck happened. Could it have happened the way that the two folks indicated it happened? And sometimes we've had to call an engineer. Sure have.
Okay, some of our traffic lights these days have got cameras on them, right? How hard is it to get that video? And is that like, you know, we used to talk about convenience store videos that they'd tape over it within about 2 days.
Yeah.
Are traffic cameras the video kept longer than that, I would hope?
You know, here's the thing. you can almost never get a traffic camera video.
Really?
They're incredibly difficult to get.
Okay.
Most of the time they're rolled over. They're not really for looking at how an accident happened.
Okay.
That's typically not what they're used for. So we usually aren't able to get those. Boy, you really want to though. You really want to. You see
Seems like
them and
it
you
prove
want,
everything.
What you can get though sometimes, anytime there's a wreck, you look around to the businesses that are around that wreck. We have been successful in some circumstances in asking a gas station if they have a video of an intersection, or asking a drugstore if they have a video of an intersection. So there are times when if you look and dig for evidence, particularly in close time to the wreck, then sometimes you can find that evidence.
Okay.
These are closed circuit cameras,
Yeah.
so they turn over after 15 or 30 days, and sometimes it's against the policy of the particular business to give anybody a camera without a subpoena.
Okay.
So then you have to file a lawsuit and yada, yada, yada.
Okay, so if you're in a wreck like that and there's the possibility of video, you need to talk with a lawyer who can secure that video.
That's true.
Fast.
That's right.
Okay, let's talk about the things that we're all carrying around with us in our cars, our cell phones.
Right.
How much information can you get off of somebody's cell phone that helps you with a wreck?
You know, there's a lot of times when folks are on their cell phone, and when I say on their cell phone, they're either texting, maybe they're looking at navigation, maybe they're even talking maybe through their Bluetooth or talking into their headset at the time of the wreck. And what we can do, we can get that information from a subpoena. Now, you only have a subpoena power if you file an actual lawsuit. So what we would do is if we suspect that somebody was on their cell phone at the time of a wreck, we would file a lawsuit, we would issue a subpoena, the judge would issue an order to the cell phone provider, and then we can get that data.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that happens.
We've got callers waiting. We've got Aday on the line with a question from Arab. Hi, Aday. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight? Hi, Aday.
If anything
Yeah.
can be done for an individual that owes us money, he came and offered to start paying it, and at the time we did not need the money. So we told him we would just wait until we needed it. We were trying to help him.
Okay.
And now that we need it, he doesn't want to pay it.
Is there anything in writing? Did y'all ever do anything in writing? Aday, did y'all ever do anything in writing? Did you ever sign anything at all? We may have lost
No.
it. No.
Okay.
Okay. Can it be a contract just by talking about it and
Well,
agreeing to it?
It certainly makes it better if it is a written agreement where you, for instance, sell a car for a certain amount of money and you actually have a written agreement. But you can have oral contracts in the state of Alabama. You can give somebody a product or tell somebody you're going to pay for a service and it be an oral handshake deal. Those have been upheld in court. You know, you're still limited by the rules of the state of Alabama in terms of time limit. So if you form a contract with somebody, then it's really a good idea. Well, you have 6 years if they've breached that contract to actually file a lawsuit and try to get your money or try to get what you paid for from that contract if somebody breaches it. So be careful, there is a time limit, but oral contracts can stand up in court.
Aday, how much money are you talking about there?
1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
You could take it to small claims court,
You sure
right?
could.
Because getting a lawyer to take it on, they're going to charge you more to take it on.
You can, and that's the other option, is that if it happened in Madison County, then you go down to the 8th floor of the Madison County Courthouse and you file an action in district court in the small claims court. And a lot of times those are situations where they're under a certain amount of money, and depending upon what county you're in, and in those kinds of scenarios, the rules are a little bit relaxed so that you can go in front of the judge and you can let the judge know what happened. But one thing that I would do right now, if you haven't done it, go ahead and write out what the terms of the contract were, just so it's fresh so that you can bring that to the court and you can present that as evidence.
Good luck with it Aday. We've got Diane with a question from Madison. Hi, Diane. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yes, I was wondering, I live in an apartment, and I have had a lot of condensation collecting my windows where the mold then gets in the window sills. Of course, the apartment's not cheap. They're new. They're not new, but they're not old.
Yeah.
Sure.
And today in one of my bedrooms, I went in there and it is covered. All my furniture, it's up the walls, everywhere. It's just like overnight it grew.
It's mold or it's condensation that you're talking about is on your
No, it's mold now.
mold.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering who will be liable for that.
Well, one thing I'll say is that you're in Alabama.
All
and
right.
that's one of the things that we have a problem with, is that in the state of Alabama, particularly if your air conditioning is not working, in other words, moisture is not being pulled out of your air, or if mold has been allowed to grow in your apartment, it's hot outside, it's humid, there's a lot of mold everywhere, so it can take over your house, your apartment, anything very quickly. So it's important to act quickly. One thing that you need to know is that in the state of Alabama, a landlord has a responsibility to provide you a safe living environment. And one of the things that makes a living environment unsafe potentially is mold. Not always, some mold is not as bad as others, but it's one of those things that if you are having respiratory issues, if you're coughing, if your sinuses are messed up, which can happen in Alabama anyway.
Just for pollen can get you there.
That's right, but you need to contact your landlord. You need to put it in writing, tell your landlord, hey look, I need this mold addressed, I need this mold issue addressed. There are some things that happen if your landlord does not take the steps to address those issues. So what I would do is I would write your landlord a letter, give him 14 days to try to fix the problem. And then in the meantime, you need to write down, hey, look, this is impacting my furniture, my clothing, those sorts of things. What you're probably not going to get out of that is a private right of action. And what I mean is that an action directly against the landlord for your losses right at this point. You just need to go ahead and make sure that you alert the landlord to the problem, give them an opportunity to correct it, and then down the road you may have some other avenues that you can take.
So what might she get out of that? Just the ability to move and break her lease?
That you can get that can happen.
Can she make them pay for her furniture?
That's
Not
that's
that's what
tougher.
you're saying, that's tough.
That's tougher because there is no private right of action against a landlord in the state of Alabama in those kinds of scenarios.
Okay.
Some people have had success handling those kinds of situations, but particularly getting the mold out, forcing a landlord to get the mold out. The other thing that you can do is you can contact, if you're in Madison County, and I think you said you're in Madison, you can contact the Madison County Health Department. Go ahead and start building at least a little bit of a paper trail that you've tried to address this issue with your landlord. So if you need to break your lease in the next 30 days because you just can't live in this kind of environment, then you can tell the landlord and tell, if it comes to it, the court, that you've done everything that you could possibly do to try to get your landlord to fix this issue. So contact the health department, Madison County Health Department. Make sure to send a letter in writing to your landlord, give them a time limit to fix it, and then if you don't get anything from that, you're going to be okay to move and break your lease, but you need to make sure that you've taken those steps first.
We're going to take a break. Diane, we'd love you to call back in a couple of weeks and tell us how it worked out for you. We're going to take a break. Be right back. It's Ask Us Anything night. Stay with us.
You're watching WAAY 31 Law Call. Your rights, your calls, live. Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League & Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Maservi, and hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. It's Ask Us Anything night, so call in your questions on any legal topic. We've got with us Heath Brooks from Timberlake, League & Brooks. They are a personal injury attorney, so that's everything from car accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence.
Right.
If your body is hurt, they can help.
If you get hurt, then we can help you.
I do family law, so divorce, child custody, and we've got callers waiting. We've got John on the line with a question from Madison. Hi, John. Thanks for waiting. What's your question tonight?
Should be coming up here.
Hey, John. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yes, I wanted to ask about my property. On my property line, on my backyard, there's a group of 4 trees, and they're about 7 inches in diameter. And I'm wanting to find out how can I get those cut down because I have one of those vinyl fences on my property, and that those trees are right up against my property line, and I'm being told that if I want those cut down, I got to get out there, spend the money, and get those cut down. They're tall, and I'm worried that that's an expensive fence that we have.
And is it right in your on your property, or is it right across in your neighbor's property?
It's right on the property line. It's on my neighbor's side.
Okay.
But they're leaning toward our side.
Gotcha. But they're willing to let you cut them if you'll pay for cutting it.
Well, John, are they healthy trees? In other words, are they diseased, dying, anything like that?
I can't really tell. I mean, they're not.
They're just in the way, and they're leaning.
I don't really, I can't really tell. I mean, they do have some leaves, but because they're kind of leaning. Yeah, I think they're sugar gum trees.
I got you. Okay. Well, here's the problem with trees. If they're not on your property, you can't force your neighbor to cut them down, and that's a problem a lot of people have. I've worked with various organizations that have a lot of trees right next to people's property. They want those trees cut down, but there's not much that you can do to force your neighbor to cut those trees down. The good news is, if they are diseased or dying, and if they hurt your fence, then you can make a claim against your neighbor for repairing that expensive fence that you have. The bad news is if the trees don't have any obvious disease or are not dying, and they fall on your fence, and this is a bad law in Alabama, then you can't recover from your neighbor, and you have to file it against your own insurance company.
Okay.
So if the trees are diseased, then you can get somebody to pay for it. If they're not diseased, you can't get somebody to pay for it. So John, you can't force your neighbor to cut those trees down, but if he's willing to let you cut them down at the cost, that's about your only option that I can see.
And a lot of folks out there would be envious of you having that, because they've got trees on the neighbor's yard that the neighbors won't let them cut.
That's right. That's right.
So, and you might be in a healthier situation to keep good neighbors to just say, I'll pay for it.
That's right.
I'll pay for it.
That's right.
But we understand where you're coming from.
I do, yeah.
We've got Dorothy on the line with a question from Decatur. Hi, Dorothy. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
This is, my daughters had a wreck.
Okay.
And they're trying to take every penny of the insurance.
They who? Who's trying to take every penny of the insurance?
The lien holders
Okay.
at the hospital.
Okay.
And,
Right.
med flight and everything.
Okay.
It was an individual that hit them.
Okay. So was there any insurance coverage in terms of the person who hit and caused your daughter's injury?
Yes, sir. They had full coverage, but it was the minimum full coverage.
Okay.
So now the hospital wants all. So your daughter's gotten a recovery. Sounds like the daughter's gotten a recovery, but the hospital and MedFlight and everybody else wants it
Yep,
and eats that up.
That happens. I mean, that's one of those things that we deal with very regularly. You get in a wreck, it's catastrophic. You have, you as the person who was injured, don't have health insurance. You go to the hospital, you spend a couple of nights in the hospital, your bills are tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. You get med flighted, which is $50,000, $60,000. You have all of these other people who are reaching into the proverbial cookie jar with their hands to try to get those cookies out. And then at the end of the day, here you are injured, trying to recover from your injuries, and every bit of resources that you had that could have helped you get a recovery have been eaten up by medical bills and other lien holders. I know that story. I know that story very well. And a lot of times, the only thing you can do in that scenario is have conversations with the people who are trying to get the money. We routinely negotiate with the hospitals in situations where there's just not enough resources to go around. We routinely work with the med flight folks when there's not enough resources to go around. That's a scenario I see almost on a daily basis. Not enough insurance coverage for a terrible wreck. And a lot of times it's just negotiating with the medical providers and the lien holders so that nobody's going to be really happy with the outcome, but at least we can create a situation where the person who was injured gets something for what they've been through, and it doesn't all go to the medical providers.
So could she come to an attorney now? I mean, already this far into the process, and get somebody to help her now if she doesn't have one already?
Sure. That would be, that would be one of the things. At least consult with a lawyer. Ask them if there's anything they can do for you. It's not going to cost you a nickel. Just talk to them and tell them what your situation is. And a lot of times you can find a way out of that. But it's a problem because the minimum coverage in the state of Alabama is $25,000, and a single hospital visit can be hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes. So, you're on hook for the hospital bill, and you've been broken apart, and now you don't have any resources to help yourself, through a really bad time in your life. So contact a lawyer.
You said med flight can be $50,000 to $60,000
or more.
Really?
Med flights can
that.
be very expensive.
I didn't know that. Thank goodness they're there, but that's a lot of money.
That's right.
Jamie's on the line with a question from Florence. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yes, ma'am. My mama died a couple months ago.
I'm sorry.
And the insurance company keeps sending us mail, and we sending them everything we've got, and they giving us the runaround. And I was just wondering, what do you think? You think we could have a good case if he was to turn it over to him, attorney?
Jamie, is it a life insurance policy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anytime, and the answer to that is maybe. Maybe if they've officially denied your claim, probably you need to contact a lawyer and talk to them about it if they're giving you a runaround. But anytime you have an insurance claim, and I'm talking whether it's an automobile wreck or whether it's a tractor trailer wreck or whether it's a nursing home problem, medical malpractice, or a life insurance claim, there's going to be an adjuster who is going to determine the value of that claim. And in a life insurance claim, which you've made a life insurance claim, then the adjuster is going to check every box that they have to check in order to pay out that claim. Remember, insurance companies aren't in the business of paying out claims. They're in the business of taking in premiums and not paying out claims, because you don't make any money paying out claims. So they're going to make sure that every box can be checked before they pay out your life insurance claim. If you're at a situation where you think they're giving you the runaround, do you have a potential case against them? You always have a potential case. It would certainly be something that I would contact a lawyer about and ask a question.
If he could prove he's getting the runaround, that they're withholding and they should have been paying.
That's right.
What can he get? More than just the life insurance policy?
In some circumstances, you can get what's called the insurance company is acting in bad faith.
Okay.
And what that means is that they're not doing what they should be doing, and they know it. And so in that kind of scenario, your damages can be much more than what your actual insurance value would be. So, whatever the policy of life insurance was, you could get substantially more.
Good luck with it, Jamie. And we've got Michael on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Michael. Thanks. We're in our last minutes here. What's your question tonight?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks.
Okay, I was wanting to ask you about a washer and dryer that I left at an ex-girlfriend's house, and I paid for the washer and dryer, and they won't give it back. How do I go about that?
Okay.
It may wind up being a small claims court kind of case because if you're not married, that would be a different situation. If you were married and you bought it together, you would have an argument there that it's joint property.
Right, and, you know, and if you paid for the washer and dryer, and then it's been taken, the possession of that washer and dryer has been taken by somebody else, then that would certainly be a potential small claims action. You'd go to the district court, you'd file for small claims. You know, if it was taken from you, I mean, if it was taken out of your house by someone who didn't own it, you could have a criminal situation there. But in order for you to get your money back, most likely what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to file a claim in small claims.
We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions for Ask Us Anything Night. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, here's how to get in touch with Heath Brooks and Timberlake League and Brooks. They are personal injury attorneys. The number in Huntsville, 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website, law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And if you want to talk to Sharon, she practices family law. That's divorces, child custody. She can be reached at 256-539-7337 or www.sharonfamilylaw.com.
And you can check out Heath for Porch Fest coming up Saturday,
right.
May the 4th. May the porch be with you.
That's
the
may the
phrase?
porch be with you.
He's
Me and my father-in-law are playing 5:15, porch number 5. It's going to be a great show. Lots of great local musicians. You know, come out and enjoy a beautiful day out in 5 Points.
5 Points, Huntsville.
That's right.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
A man of many talents.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your questions. We'll see you next week.
Good night.